Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
All right. Welcome to the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay. Big E is here. How are you, buddy?
Just fine, Mike.
Doing okay?
Closing out another week.
Yes. Oh, we made it.
We did.
We made it to the end of the week.
I don't know why, but it always humor because he says it almost every week, closing out, and I just literally see that as a concept of like our life is going by and check it off. Here's
I know.
one more week.
Cross that week off the
And then
calendar.
now-
In fairness, I've done that since I was about 16. All right. Put that one in the books.
Should we start?
Turn the page.
Yes. Should we start analyzing?
Can't
each
wait
week?
to get to next Friday. If I could fast forward my week, just like get to Friday.
It's not the way to live life, Mike. Come on, man.
I know, but
Mike,
that's
some
how
of the-
I've lived life, like almost my entire life.
But Mike, some of those enjoyable moments come on a Tuesday morning, maybe when you see a flower.
You son of a bitch.
What is that a reference?
Just douchery.
I'm actually gonna.
Fucking E.
I actually have a friend who I'm gonna start. Who looked into becoming a full-on monk, but he's decided not to do that. But he's gonna maybe
Wait,
give me
full on?
He's
like-
friends with you?
Yes.
Is this chipmunk or
No.
like regular monk?
No, regular
Like
monk.
a chanting, praying monk.
He was gonna move,
Robes
I
and
think, to like
everything.
India or
Shaving
something.
his head?
He's a Buddhist, I guess,
Oh,
and stuff.
Buddhist monk. My God.
But
How
anyway,
cliche.
but I think I'm gonna have him this week possibly give me some lessons in possible meditation. I
Oh,
think I might.
boy.
Oh God.
Yeah, we've heard about E meditating in the
But
past.
now it might be
and
legit.
really it's just staring out in the distance and
Yeah.
trying to think.
Just staring at the sun and, as his eyes are watering all over his face. Got to close your eyes, E. Don't stare at the sun. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Well, now it might
Blind
be
and.
legit.
Anyway, before we did the show, Jay actually grilled me like a lawyer.
Not really.
Well,
I let you just talk, Mike. We did a little extra content
Yeah.
on some of the work history of one Mike Walters.
Yeah, my tenure at Riff Radio.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, we've got a members area
Mm-hmm.
on DetroitCast.com. There you will find, over to the right-hand side, members area tab. Click on that. You can register to be a member, and you get some extra content, and this is a piece of that.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
honestly,
spent about
dude,
a half hour babbling about your job.
I thought it was going to be a 5-minute segment. It turned into a 30-minute segment, all about like how I got my start in radio, who helped me get my start.
What'd you do when you first started versus
Yeah.
10 years later? Yeah, it was interesting, Mike.
I hope it was interesting.
I think a lot of people kind of know that if they've listened, but yeah, some insider stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, I hope people find it interesting. But yeah, so it's up there. It's up there now. If you're a member, you can go listen if you want to hear me ramble for 30 minutes about the early years
Yeah.
of a young Mike Walters making his way in radio.
Well, you had one foot like in kind of the old school radio and one foot in the new.
Yeah.
You bridged an interesting time period.
And I'm glad I did,
Obviously,
too.
we're on a very interesting show. And,
Yeah.
and just I don't want to minimize and say you fell into it, but you were very fortunate to have the opportunity that you did. You ran with it. You grabbed it and ran.
Yeah, it was the first time in my life that I remember grabbing something and running with. Seriously, like anytime I ever did a job.
Unless it's a case of beer out of somebody's garage.
Or a babysitter
Sure.
titty.
Well, yeah, both fair assessments by you two. But no, like when we worked at like Aldingbrook, for instance, like we fucked around, but Jay would still like learn stuff and be a useful employee. When we worked at Gene's Hardware, I was there for the
You
pallet
mastered
fights,
the ball cock.
but I didn't.
You became the ball cock expert.
I was doing radio back then. I was just like, oh yeah, let me get our ball cock expert, Jay. Jay, he needs a ball cock expert. And it was just like, you cocksucker. Yeah, hi, sir. I'll help you out with that.
And you did excel at the Salt Wars in the warehouse.
Yeah, I had a decent arm back then. And
Yeah.
so those salt wars were a lot of fun.
Everybody picture
But-
water softener salt pellets.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 15 guys back in a warehouse hawking those.
And pallet stacked ceiling, floor to ceiling, and climbing over them.
Awesome.
And, dude, it was a blast. But I never took those jobs seriously. I wasn't one of those like I've always said like I always respected my brother. It was like he'd be sweeping floors at some warehouse, and he'd be the best fucking floor sweeper they had. Like that was just he was like, okay, I'm here to do a job, and I'm going to take it, do it, and work hard.
G was way better than you in a lot of ways.
Right, and so the Riff job
is way better than you in a lot of ways.
And he still is.
Yes.
Which is why he's more successful than I am. But the Riff job, even though it was unpaid out of the gate, it was the first job where it was like, fuck yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I like ran with it and hung on to it. So,
so get more details in the members area.
Yeah, it's there.
Hey, I mentioned the warehouse, Mike. I would be remiss if I also didn't mention that Peerless Steel,
I'm going to tell my brother. He sweeps the shit out of floors in a warehouse, so he might be interested. Yeah.
Peerless Steel, the leading steel distributor in the region, is looking for some kick-ass workers. The company needs to fill warehouse positions, all shifts in Troy, Saginaw, and Granville. Also needs to fill truck driving positions and is offering competitive salaries and benefit packages for all these jobs. It's a great place to work. Don't miss this opportunity to apply. Send your resume to humanresources@peerlesssteel.com. Fax it to 248-528-3971 or stop by and complete an application. So you can either quit your present job and go work for Peerless.
It's a great choice.
Be a great move. Or if you don't need a job, tell your friends. Share it on, share it on social media, whatever.
Yes.
Get the word out there because they're looking for some good people for these jobs.
And they need them now. So do it if you're looking for a gig. Anyway, coming up in shortly here, we're waiting for our phone to ring. As Linda Thompson will be calling to talk about her new book.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're excited for that. How we doing with post-debate hangover? I know it's the talk of everything cable news.
Yeah, no, I think the big talk today is how Trump wouldn't acknowledge that the election results are legit should he lose.
Yeah.
And he's being judged the big loser because of that. I disagree that he's the loser because of that. I just thought that he came out really flat in terms of substantive answers. And when you're not going to attack, and grab the headlines that way, going full force at her and all these myriad, shitty things that she's done, then you've got to come with substance, and you've got to go after those people who aren't your base, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's been saying that for months. You've got your base. Don't
Yeah.
keep preaching to your base. Preach to people outside of that. And
Well,
I don't believe he did it.
It sucks because there has been a real window of opportunity there that feels like it's been missed, and it's for his own. It's his own doing that's
Trump
done
being
it.
Trump.
You know, when you listen to his surrogates talk about him, and it's like, yeah, why didn't he just say that? That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Like it hits hard. But him doing this, getting down, like when he starts going off the conspiracy theory road, it's like, dude, you lose me so fast. I'm waiting for him to go, 9/11 was an inside job. George Bush brought those towers down. Everybody knows it. It was written about in the blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, oh, dude, where are you going with this? Where are you going? When you're talking about rigged elections, if you want to say the system's rigged for you to fail, I know it better than anybody because I've been a benefactor of how this system works, and I can help fix it.
And then you point out the various things that came up during the week, like the hidden camera that he didn't articulate very well, about busing people in from various states, about sending people to his rallies to promote violence. That's where you go. You don't go to this. Yeah, I'll judge it when I see it, what happens. Or you just let it happen, and then if it happens and you lose and you have some basis for complaining, then you complain about it being rigged. But yeah, that's a big mistake.
I think you can even go as far as being respectful and going, look, ladies and gentlemen, I know that this is how the system works. You want to dig up anything you can on your opponent to make them look like the worst person on the planet. They've done that. They have found audio recordings of me. I apologize for that. But, the truth is I'm not a career politician. I have not sat in a room for 3 weeks practicing every answer to say exactly what you think you want to hear, like these people. This is how this train works, and I'm not that guy. Like, you could go down that road and make real inways with people going, yeah, that is how the system feels it's set up, and it sucks. And maybe this guy's not perfect. Maybe he's rough around the edges. But go in the route. What did he say? What a nasty woman. Like, no, it doesn't take a genius to know that women are going to be really offended by that, and you need them. You needed them. So anyway, not that it matters all that much, but Twitter was a blaze last night. I forgot to watch Ken Bone.
Oh, I didn't watch him either.
Yeah, I'll have to catch that later on Kimmel to see how the Bone Man did. But people were really creeped out by Hillary's smile.
As
I guess.
were we.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah,
like
we
all
locked
picked
into
up
that
on that
very early, going ah.
Yeah, it seemed her teeth were more yellow than usual. I don't know if it was
Kinda that-
that weird cream colored.
That open mouth smile, though. And then she turned her head.
It was weird. But yeah, people were like, "Oh, that's a reason not to vote for her." That creepy, weird Nana smile that she had. Yeah, a lot of people were creeped out by it. Hundreds of people said her smile was scary and creepy. Others questioned why, when being slammed with insults, her expression didn't change. It was like, yeah.
I have not seen your Nana this happy in years.
Hillary's smile is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life, said one guy. When Hillary smiles, she looks like an evil snake. What do you do? What do you do when you don't have a response? Smile like a chipmunk. Yeah, that's.
Thing is, she did have responses. Yesterday, she was very prepared and came back and had points to counter pretty much everything he said.
Yeah.
You know, whereas in prior debates, I think he caught her off guard a little bit on some things.
Yeah, she. There's no doubt about it. She was way more prepared for her talking points, and she got them all in there and poked the bear. You know, everything a true practiced politician does.
Yeah.
She was right there, no different than any of the other assholes who have been in that position.
Ugh, look at her.
Ugh, weirdo. You're a fucking weirdo.
I was listening on the way home, though. I tuned into Fox News to see how thick they'd pour it on, you know, in terms of how well Trump did. It's just so predictable. You know, you go to CNN and you hear them say Hillary won by leaps and bounds. You go to Fox and there they, boy, was I impressed by Mr. Trump today. And I'm
Really?
Are you kidding me? Of course.
They were?
They're trying their best just to spin it, you know,
Yeah.
just to have that message out in the media. And it's like, you don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
And somebody even pointed out, I think his answer to that final question was so right on point about making America great again. His final answer was awful,
It was
man.
a rambly mess, if
it was
I remember.
a
I don't.
mess. He limped to the finish line of that debate.
Well, I'm trying to remember what the
It was just what's his name? Wallace goes, look, we didn't agree to do final statements or closing statements to this.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I want to hit you just off the cuff. Please make your closing statement.
Yeah, why should America vote for you for president?
Hillary, very organized thoughts, goes right down the
Yeah,
line of her
coherent.
bullet points, and he just, we call it making America great again. And
Yeah.
he just,
Yeah.
incoherently whines around.
Yeah. Well,
But according to Fox News, he was right on point.
and according to Donald himself, who was of course tweeting at 3:00 in the morning, so proud that I won the debate. Everybody agrees. And it's like, dude, here we go again with this, pointing to these weird, like Drudge Report has it, Trump won 86-3. You're like, what? Oh man, but whatever. I guess he thinks that's a good idea. I don't personally. The other thing we noticed with old Hillary there was that gorgeous pantsuit she was wearing. I think it was E. E joined us in progress and walked in the room, and the first thing out of his mouth was,
What the fuck is she wearing, dude?
I don't remember. I wish I could remember exactly how I worded it, but just
Yeah, and
what
of course,
is that? What? I think that was it. What is she wearing?
and I started dying laughing because I'm looking at E wearing his Pistons pullaways and his dumb shit that he walks in the door with, and I'm like, dude. He's like, but I'm not fucking running for president, Jay.
It's true.
Yeah, she's looking very matronly, wasn't she?
yeah. It was a weird look, but of course it was very well thought out and planned out.
As
Just
is
like
every move she makes.
Exactly. It did seem weird that Melania and Ivanka were wearing those black dresses. It looked like they were going to a funeral.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, if you saw them, like they were all wearing black head to toe, which seemed a little weird. And she's wearing, after Labor Day, I might point out.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
Yeah, that's a ballsy move.
Can you do that in Vegas? I don't know. Is there some
Yeah.
different rule about
I didn't think
being
about
out
that.
west?
Look at this.
I know.
What is that?
I'm serious. I still just want to grab her by the top of the head and just go ding-a-ling-a-ling
Ring her.
and ring her like a bell.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Women have done this to themselves. Remember, the male business suit has stayed pretty much the same for hundreds of years, and
Yeah.
women just keep changing shit around. It's their own fault, man.
But I don't know what women are supposed to wear. Like I guess professional women, okay, but they don't wear that.
Right.
Like this is exclusively like the North Korea Un collection, and she wears this all the time. This pantsuit thing. I don't know what.
But
she's-
usually the jacket comes far lower. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a jacket suit thing. But this was definitely more pantsuit. You saw some ankle there and everything.
Well, the reason she wore the white was a nod to feminism. The same. She
How so?
the same because the suffragette movement in the 20s.
They all wear white.
They wore white when they
As
were
they
trying
marched?
to as they marched for voters' rights.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was pretty. Women are allowed to vote, right?
Yeah, I think.
I
yeah.
know in the 1860s through 1920, they were really pushing hard for that. And I'm almost positive. I don't want to speak out of school here. I'm almost positive women have been able to vote for many, many years, though.
I think Susan B. Anthony had something to say about that.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
She was on the forefront of that women's voting thing.
She's also on the 50-cent piece, if I'm not mistaken.
good.
E? Am I mistaken?
Well, half as important as the dollar, which has a man on it. So seems fitting. That was a joke, ladies and gentlemen. She's cracking a smile.
Nobody loves women more than Mike.
Nobody
respects them more than Mike.
I love 2s, 5s, 10s. All of them have stunning pussies I would like to grab. Nobody respects women like me.
For the record.
So, yeah, and then on top of this, she wore white because she wore red at the first one, blue at the second one,
No.
and wanted to round out those patriotic colors with white at the
Not
second.
notice that.
How planned, and then the nod to the suffragette movement for feminism. So, yeah.
No, I'm surprised there's not more comment about the white after Labor Day.
Yeah,
think about that.
I think you're spot on.
About being in the desert.
Dude, it's in Vegas.
Yeah.
The rules go out the window in Vegas.
Okay.
I mean, they really do. One of the things, though, it was in Vegas, and the sex workers thought this is going to be awesome. We have all these politicians coming to town.
Yeah.
You know,
But not
they're
as many
creepy.
Republicans as normal, so
Well, yeah,
not as much business.
not as much business, and the people that the escorts and stuff were kind of bummed. The escort agency owners said that business was alarmingly slow for 2 days. Yeah,
Ask listener Joe about that. Listener Joe has a deja vu out there.
oh
Wonder how
yeah,
that went.
Do you think it's at all possible just because there's been so much talk about this that they said, okay, I know I want to get a prostitute, but just can I hold off 2 days? You know, wait till you get back.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they think they've got a couple theories. They said that one, everyone's depressed about the way the election has gone. I don't buy that. Like,
Why would that stop you from
that'd be the
that
reason
would-
to get a prostitute. if
exactly,
anything.
exactly.
It's like, God damn, I'm bummed.
If you're gonna fall off the wagon or start banging hookers, like the depressing nature of the electoral process that we're going through right now seems like as good a reason as any. So I don't buy that one. Another said the election has been filled with gotcha moments and people are afraid of getting busted. That makes more sense.
That's what I just said.
Well, so did they,
know,
and
I'm
they're
just
the
saying.
actual owners.
Good anticipation-y.
Yeah, I know you've got a lot of history with hookers, so I respect your opinion more than most. But I'm going to go with the owners on this one. They said
In
it.
fact, he's the expert in the room. Yeah,
You
very
are
much
the-
respect your opinion on hookers. Pregnant ones in Chicago alleys.
Sure. Yep.
Do you have a joke about that, by the way?
You know who did do well?
you, dude.
Was the Bunny Ranch apparently though.
Oh, is that
Dennis
right?
Hoff. You know he'll send like a limo to the Vegas airport, pick people up,
'Cause
and
he's
then
way
drive.
off,
You know what's so
right?
big?
Yeah, he's a couple hours south or
A
something.
couple hours.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's buried down in the desert, Nevada.
Oh my god.
And so yeah, I think so. I thought that's what it was.
No,
he
you're right.
offered. He offered us. He wanted me and a few people to come out for something. Was years ago. It was like, yeah, dude, you guys fly in and I'll pick you up at the place. You can stay at the Bunny Ranch. And I was like,
Well, no,
hell
dude.
yeah. We didn't end up doing it for whatever reason, but
That was some bullshit I got fucked over on. If you remember, I was still a virgin.
oh, were we gonna send you out to
Yes,
the Bunny Ranch?
He said he was gonna. He picked me up in a limo. He was
Really?
and then fucking like I think Mark emailed him back or a few times and nothing
I bet
came of
he
it.
would, dude. I bet if we got
he-
a hold of Dennis Hoff and said, "Hey, we want to send someone out. Can you take care of him?" and interview him, I bet he would.
He said he was going to, and I think we had it all planned out, and it never happened.
See how
in the end.
disappointing it is when somebody goes back on their promise.
Yeah, it sucks when it affects me.
But apparently for him, he's been running extra limos to
Wow.
Vegas last few days, just picking up the big E's of the world to come down and bang people.
God damn.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, got to tell you about our best friend Doug.
And then we're gonna find our best friend Doug, and then we're gonna give him our best friend a hug. Doug, Doug, oh, Doug, 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 Doug.
Buying a home can be one of the most stressful times of a person's life. Doug Steinert at Century 21 Campbell wants to make the sale of your old home or the purchase of your dream home as stress-free as possible. Call Doug at 248-765-1781 and let him and the team at Century 21 Campbell make your home purchasing dreams a reality. What better to do this weekend, Mike, than to go home shopping?
Hell yeah.
Call 248-765-1781 and ask for fellow Detroit Cast listener Doug Steinert.
Lastly, on the election, not really election, but Eminem dropped a new song.
I heard that.
Did you? Called Campaign Speech. Mm-hmm. It's like 8 minutes long, and it's not really a song. It's more a cappella with just like a single beat throughout. I don't know. I'll play a second of it for you, but he posted it on his Facebook page. And he also, the cool thing was, he said, don't worry, working on a new album. In the meantime, here you go. And he threw this out there. It's called Campaign Speech. I'm sure you can find it everywhere. References to, Colin Kaepernick. There's references to Agatha Christie for some reason. There's references to...
Let me guess, he's a huge Trump fan.
Oh, yeah, sure. There's references to Trayvon and George Zimmerman in there. I think, E, do you have it, just so you get a taste of it, I think this is the part about Trump. It's about 4 minutes in.
In the waistband at the VMAs with the stagehand. She wants Kabasa. Prearrange an escape plan. 3-inch blade on point like a CNC. Consider me a dangerous man, but you should be afraid of this dang candidate. You say Trump don't kiss ass like a puppet, cause he runs his campaign with his own cash for the funding, and that's what you wanted? A fucking loose cannon who's blunt with his hand on a button, who doesn't have to answer to no one? Great idea. If I was president.
So anyway, taste of it. Hopefully it doesn't get us yanked.
Eminem weighing in.
Yeah, I love Eminem.
Yeah, it's
so
pretty sweet.
Yeah, no shock though that he'd be anti-Trump, pro-Hillary. That's for sure. I think we're about ready for Linda Thompson.
Linda, awesome.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jay. We grew up. Elvis was dead.
Soon after.
But we didn't grow up with his music like people did. But I don't care. I can listen to stories about the King, man.
Yeah, I know, man. Larger than life.
They so crack me up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so jealous. Like to be at that level where it's like, fuck it, man. I'm just pulling a gun out in my house and shooting shit. Like, dude, that's when you know you made it. You know what I mean?
You're right.
It's just it's.
But at the same time, it was
stuff.
a bit of a curse because he was so sought after and so huge.
Yeah.
He couldn't leave. Didn't want to leave a lot. Stayed at Graceland a ton. Stayed in his hotels when he traveled to Vegas and shit.
Yeah, but less of a curse than it would be today, where Elvis didn't have to deal with cell phones and video every time you stepped outside your room. Like back then, you could walk down the street without being on cameras everywhere you went. Like that part of it, it would really suck now to be the biggest star in the world and try to do anything. You look at...
Well, you have to embrace it to some extent.
Yeah.
And use it. But we mentioned Elvis because Linda Thompson was Elvis's lover for 4+ years.
Yeah, lived with him.
As well as Bruce Jenner's. And she has a lot of cool stories about the inside dealings with those two and Hollywood in general.
Yeah, and I believe she's checking in now. Hello.
Hi, is this Eric?
No, you've got Mike and Jay from the Detroit Cast. Is this Linda Thompson?
It sure is.
Hey, Linda.
Contact Eric.
Yeah, Eric's here too.
Oh, okay. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Where are we getting you at? Are you you at home?
I'm actually I'm at my condo in West Hollywood. I have a home in Malibu where I usually am.
Oh.
But I had a dinner last night in town, so I stayed at my condo.
Oh, nice. Well, Linda, I got to tell you.
Too much information?
No, not too much information. Actually, I'm really jealous. I've been around that area a few times, and I just absolutely love it. It's just unbelievable.
Which, Malibu or West Hollywood?
Well, both. But Malibu, just that whole drive up the coast and Pepperdine, like that whole area is just incredible to me.
I know. It's just, it is pretty idyllic.
Yeah,
that's why I spend like 99% of my time in Malibu. But I bought this condo a few years ago, just, when I would come to dinner in town, it was just a long drive back home to Malibu. So I thought I'd get this little place. But
Good
I
to have
just put it
options.
on the market, actually.
Which one's on the
Pardon?
market? The condo or the Malibu?
The condo, yeah,
Yes.
because I prefer Malibu. Both my sons bought houses in Malibu. They're 5 minutes from me, so my life is so much more there, than here.
Yeah, you're talking to a couple guys from the Midwest, so we are very jealous when
Yes.
you're talking Malibu.
That's right.
Well, I'm from Memphis,
yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely, relate to being landlocked.
Yes. Well, Linda, we've both really enjoyed your book. It's a little thing called Life, on loving Elvis Presley, Bruce Jenner, and songs in between. And of course, we're talking to Linda Thompson. And honestly, as I read this book, it felt like almost 3 books in one.
Yeah, it probably should have been 3 books. I jokingly say my sequel will be called "And Another Thing" or "And Furthermore."
Yeah, yeah. Well, for those that don't know, you dated Elvis Presley for 5 years. You were
4.5, but who's counting?
Right up until almost up until the end, and we'll get into plenty about that. You were married to Bruce Jenner, and you're the mother to Brandon and Brody Jenner. Married to David Foster for many years, the brilliant composer and producer. I mean, what an incredible
And you yourself
run.
are a Grammy-winning songwriter.
An actress.
Thank you. I've had, and that was one of the primary reasons for having waited so long to write my memoir, because I didn't want to just write a book about Elvis and me. I think there have been so many books like that, and that's kind of the highlight, of course, for so many people's lives, and it's certainly a highlight of my life. But I did want to carve out my own identity, my own career, have my own life, and other things to talk about besides just the 4.5 years of living with Elvis. Some of the Elvis fans wish that it had been just a book about Elvis. They don't care about Bruce and Caitlin and
Sure.
David. They just wanted to hear more about Elvis.
Well, it's amazing that after all these years, he's still as iconic and popular a figure as he's ever been. It's remarkable.
Isn't it just astonishing? It
Yeah.
really is astonishing. And, like one of my girlfriends says, he's like a religion. People are just really so dedicated to his memory and are so vigilant about protecting his memory that it really is pretty astonishing.
Well, how did a young Linda Thompson, and you were, I believe, Miss Tennessee at the time that you met Elvis Presley, how did that all come together?
Well, I was Miss Tennessee Universe, and my roommate, who was Miss Rhode Island in the Miss USA pageant, had just moved to Memphis. And we went to lunch at TGI Fridays one day, and I ran into a country music artist called T.G. Shepherd, who was having lunch at Fridays. And he said, "Linda, come in, we'll buy you lunch." So I write about it in the book in a lot more detail. But we went in, and T.G. said, "Would you girls like to meet Elvis tonight?" And my girlfriend Jeannie, who was Miss Rhode Island, said, "Absolutely." I said, No, we can't. We have to work tonight. She said, "We'll get substitutes." So we did. We got my cousin Shelley and one of her friends to appear as Miss Tennessee and Miss Rhode Island, and we went and met Elvis at the Memphian Theater. He used to rent out the Memphian Theater after midnight, after the theater would close, because Elvis was very nocturnal. So he would rent the theater out and screen movies. That's before people had screening rooms, and of course this was Memphis too. And I said to Jeannie, "Look, this thing starts at midnight. That's an awfully odd hour. And, we're respectable young ladies, so I'm going to park right in front of the theater. If things aren't on the up and up, we're out of there."
Yeah.
I kind of parked, and I was very much a prude back then. But we met, I was in the theater. He walked in the side door, he didn't walk in, he burst in the side door with a black suede cape on, high collar, red satin lining, black flared leg pants with
Like
a
a
red
king, man.
piping.
Hell yeah.
So he looked very much like Dracula. In fact, I mentioned that to him. I said, "We're kind of dressed like Dracula tonight, aren't we?" So I think he rather enjoyed my humor right off the bat. And, we were kindred spirits. The moment we met each other, it was like we had known each other all our lives.
That must have been unbelievable, because you're a local girl from Memphis. You'd never met him before, right? And he took an instant liking to you guys. And I think, as you say in the book, you were pretty inseparable for several years then.
Yeah, 4.5 years we lived together, and I went on every tour with him. Went to Vegas with him every time he performed in Vegas, and he was a very, very affectionate and very needy person. You know, he wanted me with him 24/7, especially the first year and a half that we were together. After that, we would take breaks, you know, and I'd be away from him for a few days at a time, during which I'm sure there were other women always. But,
well,
it's Elvis. You know?
That had to be really weird for, you know, at the time I think you're 22 years old, for an independent girl who's starting to make her way in the world to all of a sudden be wrapped in this
Just
Elvis
thrust into
cocoon where your life is no longer yours. I mean, you're with the biggest celebrity on the planet at that point. That had to be a difficult transition. And like you said, he was very, very possessive.
Very possessive, very needy, but I was just desperately in love with him. You know, he was just also the most charismatic, incredible man I'd ever met. You know, very, again, inordinately affectionate and loving and kind and generous and sexy, you know, just incredibly beautiful physically, but as well spiritually. You know, he was just, we connected on so many levels. And I very willingly did just kind of entrust my life to him. And again, you know, I write about it in the book that I don't think I've ever loved, other than my sons, that unreservedly. You know, you love your children like that unconditionally. But with Elvis, you know, it was my first love, and experientially, I was younger than I was chronologically. I'd grown up very sheltered, Southern Baptist background. You know, my parents didn't even keep alcohol in the house. So, you know, I had no exposure to a lot of the things that I was suddenly exposed to with Elvis.
Well, Elvis is very well known. You know, there's been so much written about him, books and movies, everything. Very well known for his gift giving. Did you hang on to any of the gifts? Do you still own any of the things that he gave you? Some of the jewelry?
So much so that I've recently been thinking about having an auction like Julian's Auctions or Sotheby's or Christie's, because one of his biggest admonitions to me was, honey, an object is not beautiful if no one sees it, which, you know, it makes total sense. And I don't wear the jewelry that he gave me. I have so much jewelry, and it's all in the bank. I keep it in the safe deposit box. I don't.
Wow.
It's not my lifestyle now, you know.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever appraised it? Have you ever had it appraised?
No, not really. But, you know, I feel like someone should be enjoying it, because it, again, is not my lifestyle to flaunt that kind of jewelry. You know, I don't wear it. It sits there in a dark safe deposit box in the bank.
Wow.
So I'm really thinking about divesting myself of a lot of that, you know, because it just doesn't suit my life anymore. And I think someone should be enjoying it. So, yeah, I've kept almost everything that he gave me. And it's interesting, my sister-in-law and I, my brother Sam was a bodyguard for Elvis. And we were talking about how, you know, purely we thought then, you know, because living with someone as I did with Elvis for 4.5 years, I definitely have many mementos. You know, I have some furniture from a house that he stored furniture and gave me some when I had an apartment here in L.A. early on. And, of course, the jewelry and some clothes and things like that. But, I mean, when you think about all the things that I could have kind of garnered in that 4.5 years, had I been thinking in a mercenary way. And I guess that's part of the reason he loved me, because he knew I didn't think that way. Now, as I'm, you know, much older and I see how many people have, you know, taken things and kind of and sold them through eBay or whatever, I think, wow, you know, I could have kept DNA, for God's sake.
Sure. Yeah.
We could have cloned him.
Hell yeah.
That'd be fun. Hey, you know, another thing everybody knows about Elvis is that he was quirky in many ways, and you were with him during those interesting years where he was into the karate, the kung fu films. He, you know, brandished a pistol from time to time.
Sure.
He was known to do that. He also had the badge from Nixon. What were some of your experiences with kind of that quirky side of him?
Well, quirky, dangerous.
He almost killed you once, Linda.
He did. Well, he almost shot me. Hopefully, it wouldn't have killed me, but you know,
right.
That's, you know, something that we'll never know. But yeah, I was in my dressing area in Las Vegas, and I just got out of the shower, and I have a towel wrapped around my head and towel wrapped around my body, and I just walked past where a bullet flew seconds later, and I felt the the swish. I felt the air.
Wow.
I heard ping, ping, and felt the air by my legs. And the glass shattered on the bathroom door and shattered again outside on a closet door. And one of the guys who worked for Elvis ran to the door and said, Linda, are you okay? Are you in there? And I said, yeah, what was that? He said, oh, Elvis was just having the boss was just having a little target practice.
The boss.
I said, what? And I looked over at the toilet paper holder. If I had been sitting there, it would have gone through my legs because the toilet paper holder was, of course, metal, and the bullet went right through the metal toilet paper holder and past my legs standing there at the sink, and then shattered the glass door, shattered another glass door outside before it, came to a stop.
King.
So I went out and railed on him. What are you doing? And he was just ashen. He was just horrified.
I'm sorry,
but,
Mama.
He was, yeah, exactly, honey. I didn't. I just wasn't thinking, honey. Really, you could have killed me while you weren't thinking. Yeah, this is not a toy. Put the gun away.
Oh, King.
But he would do things like that. He even had me shooting in a closet one time. He was teaching me how to shoot, and
in the closet.
Sure.
In the closet, yeah.
People do
like,
weird things in
really?
closets. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff I've heard.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, he was we can call it quirky if you want. It was a little dangerous.
Yeah.
He had an ID bracelet. On the one side, it said Elvis in diamonds, and you flip it over, and it said crazy.
Nice.
But, he was mostly crazy in the best way and a little bit crazy in a dangerous way.
Well, I'm sure these stories were not funny at the time, but I got to tell you, I laughed out loud so many times reading some of these Elvis stories, especially when he buys you. When he's all excited, comes in, Linda, honey, get down here. You're not going to believe this. And he's bought you a yellow Pantera car.
The Pantera.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he decides to take it for a spin around the block. He comes back. He's like, oh, man, it's too much car for you. You can't have this car.
Right.
And
honey,
then
you'll get killed in that car.
Yeah, you'll kill yourself in this car, Linda. Yeah. And so you guys take it out one night. And
it wouldn't start, right? Yeah. So you got pissed at the car.
We were going to take it out one night. We were going to go to the movies. And so we all the guys, of course, were getting into their little caravan of cars, the bodyguards and, all the valets and everybody all together. He's traveled with an entourage of 13 people. In fact, my son Brody Jenner said early on when he discovered, that I had dated Elvis and lived with him for a long time, he said, Mom, Elvis was the original pimp daddy, wasn't he? He said, he had the original entourage and the bling and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, these 13 guys were all getting ready to get in their cars, and Elvis says, honey, let's take the Pantera. And I said, okay. So I get in the car, and I'm sitting there, and he gets in, tries to start the car, and wouldn't start, tries it again, Tried it 2 or 3 more times, but meantime, the expletives were flowing, and he had, like, such a foul mouth when he was very, I don't know if you've been around Southern people when they get
Yeah, we're
really
just as bad, Linda. I believe the quote in your book is, he gets out and says, you goddamn piece of shit motherfucker. And he's livid.
Yeah, I believe that was
He's livid.
There were a few more expletives, but he said, honey, get out of the car, and started pulling the gun, from his waist. You always had a gun on him. I said, no, come on, really? Let's take another car. We had, a fleet of cars. And he said, get out of the car, honey. I'm not going to tell you again, and step away. So I got out of the car, stepped back, and my first thought was, God, I hope he doesn't hit the gas tank. The car might have exploded, And he shot the car 5 times. Oof. And the guys were all going, no, boss, no, E-man, please, no, because they love the car. And one of the guys, a guy named David that worked for him for a while, who drove a Corvette, got in the car, and it started right up. It was like even the car said, all right, boss, I get it now.
Doesn't that car sit in a museum now?
Yeah, it does.
With the bullet holes,
somewhere.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe the Peterson Museum, I think, so, or one of those.
The other story with Elvis involving a gun that has been told over the years, but you for the first time as a witness that was there, tell an amazing story, hilarious to me, about when Robert Goulet, when you guys are laying in bed watching Robert Goulet on the TV, man. Yeah,
it's funny too how it's like playing telephone, and especially in the ensuing years after Elvis passed away. Suddenly, everybody was Elvis's best friend. Suddenly, everybody knew Elvis very well. They all have a story to tell. Mm. They would hear a story about something that had happened, and they'd heard the story like so many times, then they would start to think they had been there, right? I think
Yeah.
that some of us do that when we were little children. You know, we hear a story and you think, well, do I remember that, or is that just because my mom told me that I was there? You know,
Sure.
things like that. So I've read accounts of this. You know, other people saying, yeah, one day we were all sitting around watching TV, and I'm thinking, no, it was just Elvis and me in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And Robert Goulet came on, and he was singing something from Camelot. And I left out those expletives out of the book, but he really had a few choice words as well. And he just said he was not in the mood. It's not that he didn't like Robert Goulet, and not that he didn't appreciate, the quality of his voice. He just was not in the mood to hear that song at that moment, and he thought it was contrived, and he was trying too hard. And he just said, honey, step out of the room. And he got the gun off his nightstand. I said, oh, come on, let me change the channel. I can, because we didn't have a remote control for whatever reason. I was the remote control for the TV in our bedroom. So I said, honey, let me change the channel. He said, honey, you heard me. I'm not going to repeat myself. Get out of the room. But
close the door.
I still could, get out of the room and close the door. And we had these padded black doors. I mean, really padded. So he said, step out of the room and close the door behind you. So I finally just, acquiesced to his demands.
Sure.
Stepped out of the room, closed the door, and I heard boom, boom, boom. And I came back in, and he said, get this piece of crap television out of here and tell the boys to bring me a new one. I need a new one.
And what was your reaction to stuff like that? Did you laugh, or were you frightened?
I kind of did, because, I loved him so much, and I thought he was so crazy and funny and generous, and I just always thought, if something gets broken, even if I got broken, I thought Elvis could fix me. And I write about that once when I think he was trying to demonstrate his prowess as a samurai swordsman.
Yeah.
And I was the unwilling victim that was pressed as far as I could against the wall.
Yes.
And he was, navigating the sword around my body and face. And other times when I would ride on the back of a motorcycle with him, I didn't write about that so much in the book, but, there were times when I would be on the back of his motorcycle and I would just bury my face in his back and pray, because just thought, gee, I don't even know if, he realizes that he's swaying on this motorcycle. I don't like motorcycles anyway. And, but I would always just think to myself, well, if anything happens, he can fix me. He would take care of me.
Well, one other little quirky thing about Elvis that everybody knows is the peanut butter and nanner sandwiches. But that's very personal to you. I mean, you made those sandwiches for him. Can you describe how those things were made?
I did, and there was a method too. A lot of people have. I think his housekeeper Mary even put it in her book one time that she sliced up the bananas, but that's really not the way he liked them. He wanted the bananas mashed, and he wanted the peanut butter mashed into the banana mixture, with it. So I had to mash up the bananas, mash up the peanut butter into the bananas, and then put a stick of butter in a skillet.
A whole stick of butter.
A whole stick of butter and Wonder white bread. No 7-grain bread for Elvis. It was the Wonder white bread, soaking up the butter. Obviously, he never ate more than just a few bites of one of these things, but it was, just it was a heart attack city.
Yeah.
these sandwiches. But I still occasionally will make little bits of it, less butter, of course, and 7-grain bran. But it's a delicious sandwich, and it's like toasted like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Well, as most people know, the story with Elvis obviously turns tragic with his drug use that ended up taking his life. There were some moments, and I'm curious if you remember something like this. I wanted to play a rant that we used to play on a radio show I worked at years ago all the time, and I think it's when he's in Vegas performing, and drug rumors are starting to circulate, and he takes offense at it. If you can hear this, Linda, I'll play it for you. I'm sure you might remember it.
Just down. So I told him earlier, and don't you get offended, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to somebody else. If I find or hear the individual that has said that about me, I'm going to break your goddamn neck, you son of a bitch. That is dangerous. That is damaging to myself, to my little daughter, to my father, to my friends, my doctor, to everybody in my relationship with you, my relationship with on the stage. It is dangerous. I will pull your goddamn tongue out of the roots. Thank you very much.
Do you remember that?
I do. I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing now. I guess just because
It's funny.
I do remember that so well, and it was such an irony because, of course, he was, was probably high on drugs that night.
Sure.
And it's a very tragic thing because it's the same kind of syndrome that felled Judy Garland and Marilyn Monroe and people like that, where they would have to go on stage and take uppers in order to get their energy boosted up enough to perform, and coming off stage, and being and having that adulation of the crowd and the performance and all that, stay up until wee hours of the morning and then have to take a sleeping pill to go to sleep, and then something else to wake up. And it was just a vicious cycle.
Yeah, the speedball combination.
I've never been tempted to do drugs. I've never done them, so I don't even know what that is. But I guess, what is a speedball? Is that like
uppers and downers?
Yeah, so
one to go up and one to come down. It's killed. Yeah.
Yeah, and sleeping medication, and then pain medication. And the tragic thing is, I mean, it sounds ironically humorous, when you hear him now, and the profanity and just the violent nature of rip your tongue out by the root.
Yeah.
It's your really, honey.
Yeah.
But that's but that was Elvis through and through. And again, a lot of fans don't want to reconcile their minds and their hearts to that was a facet of who he was as well, that kind of violent tendency and the temper that he had, and the irony of being addicted to drugs and not admitting it. And it's too bad there weren't the plethora of rehab facilities that there are today, because there was nowhere to go for him to get help, really.
Well, he did have Mrs. Cock and Mrs. Seaman come over and sit at his bedside when he was trying to kick painkillers, right?
Well, they were the two nurses who came home with us from the hospital.
Sure.
There was a Dr. Knott and a Dr. Fink as well. Dr. Knott and Fink were the two doctors in the hospital who really helped him the most. We were like 2 or 3 weeks in the hospital during that stint, and Dr. Knott and a Dr. Fink really helped him to withdraw from some of the addictive medication that he was on, which was Dilaudid and Demerol and, some opiates. And so they helped him with that. And then they sent Mrs. Cock and Mrs. Seaman, and you can't make that up. That's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Seaman was S-E-A, M-A-N.
That's perfect.
Well, I give you credit for writing a very honest book, and reading it, you feel like, oh, God, she really went through ups and downs with Elvis, and shifting gears to Bruce Jenner, more ups and downs. Talk about meeting him for the first time.
Again, you can't make that stuff up, huh?
No. Incredible.
Bruce was, when I met Bruce, the most impossibly masculine man I had ever met. World's greatest athlete, down to earth, unstudied. I mean, he was the typical jock. Flip-flops, board shorts, a wetsuit when he could, get in the water. I mean, he was always running, jumping, doing, flying, He was just an amazing man, and the most, even when I was with Elvis, I write about this in the book too, when I was with Elvis, we're watching the Olympics, and we watched this American decathlete just dominate the decathlon, and we were pulling for him, and when Bruce crossed the finish line, we're watching and cheering, and Elvis says, man, that's a good-looking guy. I'm not gay, but damn, he's good-looking, isn't he? So, Bruce was, again, just physically, and again, an irony of life, physically gorgeous specimen of a man, but that's not what he thought of for himself. He really identified as a woman, unbeknownst to me. And again, I write in the book, thank God he didn't tell me that he, dressed sometimes or as a woman, or that he really felt that nature had cheated him and that he should have been born a girl. If he had told me that, I would have never married him. I would have been his friend, but I would have never married him. And then I would have missed out on having the two greatest gifts of my life, Brandon and Brody. So I've learned, going through things like I've gone through, just to trust life and know that it does unfold as it's meant to, and that there's always, a rainbow's end.
Mm-hmm. Now, am I correct that you married Bruce in 81, and he first told you that he identified as a woman in 85?
In 85. Brody, my son Brody, was about 18 months old, and Brandon was about 3.5 years old. And again, this impossibly masculine, hairy, muscular man came to me one day and said, I need to tell you something about myself. And I really thought he was going to tell me that he had had an affair because he was on the road a lot. And that would have been the good news. We could have gotten past that maybe. But he said, I identify as a woman. And I said, what are you talking about, you identify as a woman? He said, I am a woman trapped in a man's body. I said, no, honey, we need to go to therapy. That was my knee-jerk response. You know, I got to get this man into therapy. Something's gone awry here. And I found a gender dysphoric specialist. You know, we talked about it further, of course. And then I found a gender dysphoric specialist, Dr. Gertrude Hill. And we got to be so close to her, we called her Trudy, just a lovely woman. But she, after a few sessions, told me, you know, this is who Bruce is. This is not ever, ever, ever going to go away. And 25% of transgender people commit suicide. So, you know, I determined then and there that I would stand by him and be his friend. You know, I think I'm the only woman in the state of California that waived child support and alimony, but I did.
Yeah.
I thought he was really going, he said, I want to transition. I've lived my life too long as a man. I want to begin the transition. And so, I mean, here I had these two healthy, gorgeous little boys that were all boy, and this impossibly masculine husband who began taking female hormones and having electrolysis on his face and chest and neck. And, you know, so I didn't feel any other recourse but to file for divorce. And he began the transition all those years ago, and for 5 years was on female hormones and, you know, got rid of the hair on his face and chest and neck, had some feminizing surgeries, and then, you know, decided I don't think I can go fully through with this because, for God's sake, I am Bruce Jenner. He's known worldwide, and like, where will I go? What will I do? Who will I be? So, and then he met Kris Kardashian and came to me one day again and said, I want to talk to you. I thought, uh-oh, what now?
Yeah.
And he said, I want to get married. And I was thrilled because I thought, oh, good, my sons will still have this, you know, visual of a masculine father. I won't have to explain anything to them, you know. And I thought that it would kind of steady his life and help Bruce, you know, to sort of stabilize where he was in his life. I didn't know then, you know, in my ignorance kind of about being transgender, that it would further kind of imprison him, you know, that he had to live in this male body for many more years.
Do you think he told Kris in those early days what was going on with him, or did he do the same thing to her that he did to you, which was not say anything?
Bruce had like 36B breast when they got married.
Really?
My sons were 4 and 6, and they saw their dad get out of the shower one day, and they said, "Mommy, Daddy has boobs." It would be impossible to hide. I mean, there was so much speculation, too, back then about what happened to Bruce Jenner. You know, he did some surgery on his nose, and he looks more feminine.
Yeah, were you surprised that it just flat out didn't come out that, hey, this guy's transgender?
It's shocking.
You know, I honestly tried to protect him as much as I could then, because my heart has always gone out to Bruce. I was devastated when Bruce came to me and told me the news. I was very, very happily married to Bruce Jenner. He was a great guy and a good dad and a great husband. He was faithful. You know, I was just really, really happily married. I thought I had found my normal after having made the decision to leave Elvis to seek normal in my life. And so I was absolutely devastated. But as hurt as I was, and, you know, as much as my world around me crumbled, my greater empathy and compassion had to go out to Bruce, because at least I was comfortable in my own skin being a woman. And I just thought, what a horrible lot in life to feel that disconnected, that disenfranchised.
Did any part of you, Linda, ever feel like, I'm going to stay in this marriage, I got married, and if he needs to dress up at home or whatever we have to do to make this work, we'll make this marriage work? Or was that just like, no way?
No. Call me a terrible person, but
no, not at all. I wouldn't either.
You married a man.
You married a guy. Yeah, no one can blame you for that.
I did not. Yeah, I've never been sexually attracted to women. I love my girlfriends, you know, and appreciate their beauty and all that, but I had never been sexually attracted to a woman. And I was young. I was 35 years old. I wanted a normal relationship. And I just couldn't see myself growing old, with someone that, was my same sex. And again, he was transitioning. He had gone through 5 years of transitioning. And you asked about Chris earlier. Her daughter, Kendall, did an interview for Vogue magazine in September and said that her mother knew from the third date.
Really?
So I wouldn't be the one to say whether she knew or not. That's a question more for Chris, but her daughter, Kendall, did say that she had known since the third date.
So are you surprised then that it took so long publicly to become a thing, that he was transitioning? Again, I don't have any question that you truthfully wanted to keep that a secret and had respect for him, but he told other people. I think you mentioned he told his friend Lionel Richie. Another woman knew, I think, that you didn't name in the book. How did this not come out and be public?
It's we just think of Hollywood and we know how rumors are and how shallow it can be. It just seems like that's such a juicy story.
And maybe you're thinking, hey, it kind of was known around here, but us out in the Midwest, it just didn't get to us.
No. And actually, there was speculation. People would come up to me all the time and say, "What the hell happened to Bruce? He looks like a woman." And they would throw out those feeder lines and looking for a response. And I never gave them one. And to Lionel's credit and to a few other people that Bruce had told, to their credit, they were, good enough human beings that they didn't do or say anything to hurt Bruce further. And I have to tell you this, too. It was such a crazy thought to think that someone as masculine as a Bruce Jenner, this was not like an effeminate man that was hairless and walked with a swish early on in life. Then you would go, oh yeah, I get that, I understand. This was Bruce Jenner, who was, men wanted to be like him, men wanted to play golf with him and play basketball and tennis. He was a dominant kind of guy, and women adored him. So I think that it was difficult for people to fathom, really, that they just were going, what's going on here? But I don't think that they really thought that he was transgender or gay, or they just thought something was going on with him. I think it was just too crazy a thought for them to go there.
Well, like as Jay mentioned, he confides in Lionel Richie and a couple other people. Plus, he was kind of reckless at times, walking around in women's clothes in Hollywood, when he'd get the nerve up, or, I think your mom caught him at one point in his room and had to confront you. I don't know. I don't know how that's got to be one of the weirdest conversations ever when your mom says, "Honey, is Bruce a queer?"
My mother, my mother was on her deathbed, so I was not about to tell her.
Yeah. And she saw Bruce doing the tuck maneuver in the mirror.
Yeah.
And was,
oh boy.
Yeah, poor thing. That's got to be a sight, especially going back 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And again, this 6'2", muscular guy.
Yeah, Wheaties box, Mr. Wheaties box.
Yeah. So, and, I think that, I like to point out to everyone, because I know nobody understands more than I do, and nobody gets it more than I do, that it is a very difficult thing to comprehend, transgender, and especially someone like Bruce, to say, but he was the perfect specimen of a man. But we don't have to understand something in order to just accept it and be kind about it. And that was the choice that I made. I felt so sorry for him, that what an irony of life that he was given, the athletic prowess and the strength and the determination and the will and this perfect masculine body that God, nature provided him with that. But it was not what he had fashioned himself as. He really thought of himself as a woman, and he would look in the mirror and be distraught because he wanted to see me in the mirror. He wanted to see a feminine, effigy, not this masculine man. So I know it's difficult to understand, but, the human condition takes many forms. There's so much variance in all of us. We all have something. Some things are bigger than others, to deal with. He certainly was given more in life than most of us.
Well, I think you cut him a lot of slack in the book, Linda. You really do go to defense for him, because let's face it, for a while there, he really kind of abandoned you guys.
He totally abandoned us.
And wouldn't see the boys, and it's sad when you see, I think it was Brandon at one point is pitching a game for his his middle school or
no-hitter,
something,
yeah.
throws a no-hitter, and it's like, why isn't Dad here? And then he notices Dad's up at Pepperdine, hitting golf balls.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems so, he's right there. What are you doing? And you kind of excuse a lot of that because of what Bruce was going through. I wonder what
it's not excusable, and I think it's important to make that distinction.
Okay.
It's forgivable, but it's not excusable.
Right.
So I think there are certain things that are inexcusable, that being one of them. If you're going to have a child, be a parent. So I don't excuse Bruce or Caitlin from that. I think that's inexcusable, but I believe in life everything has to be forgivable, and it's not even for the person that you think has committed the offense, or the neglect or whatever. It's for our own selves. And I try to be forgiving because I understand that he was contending with a lot of discord within himself. He had an inner turmoil, and I've tried to impart that to my sons as well, because I don't want them to be angry and to be bitter toward their dad. They make their own decisions about who was there, who wasn't. They know their dad wasn't there. They know that I'm the person they depended on. I don't have to rub that in. I don't have to, I just really tried to be more forgiving than I know a lot of people. I don't excuse it, though. I know a lot of people say, well, how could you even speak to him again after he didn't talk to his kids? He didn't check on you guys. There was no attentiveness there.
Even after the earthquake, he doesn't call to check on his
it was hurtful.
Yeah.
I mean, it still stings when I think about it.
Sure.
It's not that I didn't feel angry and hurt, but I just didn't want to add to his hurt, and I certainly didn't want to add to my son's hurt. So that's why I think I write about this in the book, that I said to Brandon, listen, you have to look at Brandon and Brody. You have to view your dad in a wheelchair emotionally. If he had emotional legs, he'd get up and walk to you. He just doesn't. And I feel like, he was just kind of overwhelmed by life anyway. And again, it's not an excuse. I don't care what you're dealing with. If you have to slay dragons or walk over hot coals or deal with being transgender, you still, if you have a child, be a parent.
Linda, one more question. I know you can't answer this for sure, but what do you think? Will he ever go full Caitlin? It's our understanding he's still pre-op, but do you think he'll ever go through it?
I have no idea. I don't have any idea about that. I know that, I saw her the other day. Our little granddaughter was a year old a couple of months ago, so I saw him. I think the last time I actually saw her was then. And, she was wearing a really cute skirt, and I said, well, you're looking pretty good. Can I borrow that? Think that skirt will fit me? So we can make jokes. But, I have no idea. I don't get into that with her. Again, we were estranged for so many years. I've gotten to know Caitlin a little bit better than I knew Bruce in all the years that we were estranged. So, but I again, we don't go out and have lunch. We don't have dinner together. I only see her on occasion if there's a family gathering. She'll be invited to my house this year for Thanksgiving, as she has been every year.
I want to be invited to Malibu for Thanksgiving.
Ooh, come on out.
We're invited.
I'm coming. That's right.
Hey, Linda, you've given us so much time. We can't thank you enough. If we had more time, we'd get into your career more specifically. I mean, you did a ton of stuff on TV yourself. The songwriting. Chips. You were a ton on Hee Haw, different Aaron Spelling shows. But thank you so much. Really enjoyed the book.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
And thank you for your honesty and forthrightness. You guys are great. Good
Appreciate
interviewers.
Well, people that are fans of Elvis, Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, that whole world, the stories are amazing in this book. It's a little thing called Life by Linda Thompson. On loving Elvis Presley, Bruce Jenner, and songs in between. There is a ton more interesting stuff in this book that we haven't even talked about. So, Linda, as Jay said, thank you so much for the time, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Thank you. The book made the New York Times bestseller list.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you how it's doing. So it's doing well.
It's doing great. And I did want to say, I put some of my poetry, my lyrics, between a lot of the chapters.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting to see how the circumstances in my life, the experiences in my life, helped to co-write the lyrics of some of the songs that I've written, because I did draw on those experiences. So it's kind of interesting. interesting in that way too.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll see you at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. You're not a vegetarian, are you? Because I do.
No.
Not even a little
Okay.
bit. No.
That's right. You guys Midwestern boys. Okay.
That's right. Meat and potatoes. We love it.
Take care, Linda. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
Linda. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, she's great.
Well, you talk about some interesting life experiences.
God.
What a team photo.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't
Right?
even get into the other. She dropped some other names throughout, which.
Oh, my God. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked at how many, just the circles that
yeah.
they're all running in. It's just insane.
She then married David Foster, who's a hugely acclaimed songwriter.
Composer, producer.
Yeah, which then opens up a whole another side of the world to her, and she, like I said, won a Grammy.
He sounds like
some-
a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
to be
he
honest
did.
with you. He really does. I mean, obviously she was with him for 19 years, so he couldn't have been all bad. But he sounds like a super possessive, jealous.
Yeah, I feel bad for Lynn. She seems like such a nice lady, you know.
Yeah.
And she's been in some really crazy relationships.
She's put herself there.
Yeah,
and,
I
and
know,
what an
I know.
amazing life story. I mean, it's unbelievable.
but the amount of empathy and like I think she has the personality that a nurse has to have. When you read this part about Elvis and her, you know, just staying up all night long and watching him breathe, making sure he's breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just such a caring lady, is what you get out of this book. Like, holy shit! And
not for a day, like for a long time,
period of years, where
Yeah.
she's worried as hell about this guy. And like she said, there weren't rehab facilities like that back then. He's an enormous star. You can't just go public and get him the help that he needs. So she felt like she was doing what she could.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just watching over him and trying to care for him.
Yeah.
and she's just some amazing experiences.
This,
man.
dude, when I read the story about like Elvis sitting there and he just kind of get restless because he's Elvis. He can't just like go walk down the street or go to the corner or go to the movies, right? So he just kind of get restless. He's like, "Yeah, Sonny Red, grab your things. We're going to the funeral home." Like, what?
Where?
And Elvis just had like a morbid curiosity, and so he'd just go to the funeral home and
Throw
just
his cape on and
just look
head
at
out.
dead bodies, man. Just check it out. J.E., grab your things. We're going to the funeral home.
Well,
Like,
it's like
how
the-
weird would that be to declare and then to go do?
Yeah, crazy life. Like even the night that they met, where she describes them closing down the theater so that his entourage comes in. He comes in all decked out in freaking
Hell
Dracula
yeah.
shit. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dude, if that was you, you'd show up, you'd roll up in sweatpants and a hoodie. You know,
Yes.
but Elvis, that's not how he rolls, man.
Well, she actually asked him that too. Like, can't you just throw on some jeans and a t-shirt? And he's like, Linda, listen, there are people out there we're gonna run to on the streets, and they want to meet the king. They don't want to see me dressed like a hobo.
quite an obligation.
They want to know that they met the king, and so I'm going to give them all the king. He'd just go to the corner. He'd be wearing a cape, and
High
shit.
collars.
Hell yeah! Oh, I just love
Larger
it.
than life, man.
Love it. Just that kind of money, that kind of power. It's an incredible tool,
Yeah.
or weapon, or poison,
Yeah.
depending on how you choose to use it. But that's got to be a terrible existence as well as the most amazing existence too. To be I don't care how big your house is, to be literally confined to your house 24
Right.
hours a day. It's incredible. But there is ton. You don't even need to be a fan of Elvis to get a lot out of this book, though. Again, it's a little thing called Life by Linda Thompson.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey there, it's Steve Gabarra, the general manager at Zott Ford and Holly. As you know, high volume equals low prices when it comes to buying and leasing trucks. That's why we have the lowest payments possible at Zott Ford at I-75 and exit 98. Right now, lease a new 16 Ford F-150 4x4 XLT for just $168 per month. Friends, this is not a watered-down pickup truck. This is a loaded four-door F-150 for just $168 a month. Get the details and browse our massive inventory at ZottFord.com.
Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast. It's Mike and Jay.
Mike, do you know what we're missing right now?
Debate talk upstairs.
No, we're missing Sweet Pie's Halloween party.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Eh.
Wait, did I go to her Halloween party last? No, I went to her
Christmas.
Yeah.
Sure, it's just as festive, just as fun.
Yeah, but the kids are dressed up cool.
No Jack this year, though.
Little early?
What?
There's no Jack this year. She's in a different class.
Get out of here. Wow, I didn't know that.
No Jack to deal with. It is a little early.
I mean, like a week later. Like, you could literally do it a week later, or you could do it on the day. Halloween's on Monday.
I don't plan these things, E.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just going along. You're along for the ride.
Yeah, but look at that poops.
Look at that poops. Ah, look at that face. Dude, she's so adorable.
She's a little kitten.
Look at that kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Who does the face paint?
Gab.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, she's got the whiskers going.
What do we got in the background? Is that a military guy?
Oh, I don't know.
Someone's in green. He's got his mask off. That's bullshit. Let's see. Sorry.
There's just a couple of pictures there.
Are there a couple more?
There's just a couple. Yeah, she's basically she's wearing a Himalayan.
So wee.
that little furry vest she wears. Yeah.
Wee poops.
See that little furry wee vest she's wearing?
Yeah.
We call that a Himalayan.
Oh,
she has
yeah,
a white
of
one,
course.
and somehow it got named that. So she was so happy to get a black Himalayan. But it goes with the costume so well.
I like that she chose a black cat for Halloween. It goes along with the theme there. Were there any Caitlyn Jenners in her class?
I don't know. I'll have to ask her. Yeah,
Or
I don't see any in the
Chinaman?
back.
Or...
Any Hitlers?
Any
Yeah,
Hitlers?
some Hitler walks into the class.
Like at your guys' party?
Tied up Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Could
this
you
is
imagine?
a
What
little,
would
little bondage scene there.
Well,
I know. I was,
devil
thinking,
in
I was thinking that.
bondage?
What is that?
It's a mummy game, clearly. E, come on,
Why
you can't.
is she wearing devil ears with a mummy?
I don't know, but she's clearly wrapped up like a mummy. It's a game. They play games there. Don't you
Okay.
see the toilet paper?
Oh, I
What
got
were our Halloweens like? Didn't we pass out candy or something?
We
or-
didn't have parties.
We
Not
didn't?
at school. No, I definitely didn't dress it up and go to school. Did you?
I remember like doing crafts and stuff, like pumpkins.
Yeah,
and-
but I think it was like no. This would be a pain in the ass to have everybody dressed up. Not doing that.
Yeah.
But we had like moms come in and bring cupcakes and shit.
Yeah, I do remember that. So they've evolved.
So
Well,
another
good for
day
her.
of no learning for Sweet Pie today.
Very
but
good, very
Party
good.
and hearty.
Good for her. Oh, that's fun. Is she getting excited to go trick or treating?
Yes, very excited.
Yeah.
8 years old. That's the wheelhouse, man.
Yeah.
It's
Will the
good
boys
stuff.
still go? Are they done?
They're done.
That's too
They
bad.
should be done at least.
I
Too
would.
old for that
I
shit.
would. If I was Russell, I would sneak another year.
They're up to no good if they're going out.
Yep, that's true. But that's okay. That's all right. I would definitely have snuck another year. I think we went in high school, like freshman year in high school or sophomore year in high school. Beers were involved, but I think we went. I think people give you that stink eye, like, ugh, you again. You're not
Right.
even wearing a costume. Oh, yeah,
I'm a ghost.
I'm a student.
Yeah, you're a douchebag is what you are. Get off my porch.
Yeah, get out of here, you.
Speaking of costumes, dude, I was talking to the Peerless Steel guys.
Yeah.
And they referenced the Hulk Hogan ice cream man. They're
What?
listeners. And so one guy's like, yeah, guys, we're talking about the Hulk Hogan ice cream man a while ago. Peerless Steel has this bacon fest that they do like every spring or summer.
I'm a huge fan. I want to go to Bacon Fest.
Okay, do you have to be an employee to participate in Bacon Fest?
I think you do, although it's like a charity thing now, so I don't know.
It's a fest. If it's a fest, it should be open to all.
Yeah, but they've got beers and everything bacon, right? And so
I love beers and bacon.
yeah, so it's like this family event for employees and all that. And so they're like, well, we should get an ice cream man in here. And so they order up this ice cream man, and it's the fucking Hulk Hogan guy.
This is a small world, man.
Yeah, and so they order this guy, and he's sort of off to the side, and it started to worry them that he wasn't super inviting, and it looked like employees didn't realize like it was free. They had just paid one lump sum and said, hey,
Yeah.
give everybody ice cream. And so the guys are like, hey, can you just make a sign, just so it's clear that this is free, just make a sign and put it outside your truck. So this guy makes a sign,
no.
F-R-E-E, the two E's are backward.
What? No. Did he do it on purpose?
No. The guy's tarded. He's shaking his head. He knows this.
It's just funny to me that that was kind of a throwaway remark, if you remember.
I know.
And
That thing got
all
so much play. Everybody knows the Hulk Hogan Ice Cream
Yeah,
Man.
I feel like we didn't know him. I've never even heard of him until E brought it up. But
He's made
jealous.
his mark around town.
How obnoxious, by the way, that the whole ice cream trucks at parties, like that happened at. I think we were talking about it. Beth's sister did that for her kid's birthday a few
Oh, really?
weeks
Just
ago.
rented out the ice cream truck?
Yeah, and it's like, this thing pulls up, and you've I guess it's not that big a deal. You prepay for 30 ice creams or whatever,
Yeah.
and then neighborhood kids start coming out and want to get theirs, and it was like a slushy machine or something.
Oh, Kona Ice, probably.
Kona Ice, yeah, that's exactly
There
what
you
it
go.
was. It was
Some
like,
Caribbean music. As
no
it
one
pulls
would
up.
have brought us a goddamn Kona Ice truck to my birthday party. I got a cake. My mom made me a rocket cake one year with like licorice.
There he is,
Look
man.
at that guy. Oh man,
Quite a costume, Hulkster.
Hulk, you're driving an ice cream truck. You can't be double flipping off the camera. You know who your target audience is. It's children. Oh man.
Speaking there, check that guy out.
Dude, I so remember this. I so remember
Yeah.
this dude. And then I'm glad when I said it. It's one of those things that you almost wonder, did I just make it up as a
Yeah,
kid,
yeah.
or did I remember it or not? But
Why is it? He's got stuff that's like X'd out.
I
on
noticed
his
that
ice
too.
cream
My
list.
eye
Like,
went directly to that. Oh, he's out of that, Mike.
Yeah, but
Never to come back again, I
I
guess.
was gonna say you can't
You're gonna-
restock that. You're just
You're
done
going to regret
now.
that Sharpie over the ice cream sandwich there.
Yeah,
pal.
the chocolate eclair is gone apparently for
Forever.
good. It's
Forever.
gone.
Yeah. Can't be brought back.
Yeah.
Peerless Steel, speaking of them, the leading steel distributor in the region, they're looking for some kick-ass workers. The company needs to fill warehouse positions, all shifts, in Troy, Saginaw, and Granville, as you know. Also needs to fill truck driving positions and is offering competitive salaries and benefit packages for all these jobs. It's a great place to work. Don't miss this opportunity. To apply for these jobs, send your resume to human resources at peerlesssteel.com. That's Peerless. And those E's are frontwards, not backwards.
Yeah, good.
Or fax it to 248-528-3971.
Are you familiar with Josh Brown, the kicker for the New York
I
Giants?
guess I've heard the name, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of him. He's in some shit. Apparently, he was. I think he was suspended for the first game of this season for conduct unbecoming or something like that, for slapping his wife around or girlfriend around. Yeah, it's not a good one. And apparently, he admitted to abusing his ex-wife, according to police documents. I don't know. This bothers me on one level because it's Brown's private journal, which has now become public. It's like, ugh, here the guy's going to therapy to deal with the fact that he's a monster, and part of therapy is like writing down like all the shit you've done.
Oh wow, somebody leaked it.
I guess,
Yeah.
which is kind of, I get it. It's that's a real problem if you've turned into this asshole. But there's something that bothers me about the WikiLeaks stuff.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like on a level of when you put it into context of like, I wouldn't want all my shit out there. You know what I mean? Like, you just wouldn't. And if you're being honest with yourself, neither would anyone else. I know it's juicy. It's fun to talk about, whether it's Jennifer Lawrence's butthole pictures, which I saw and did like, or
this
the
is even more.
WikiLeaks, or something like this.
But this is even more so to me. If you're talking, he was doing it based on he's in therapy, and a therapist is telling him like, okay, I'd like you to start writing dude.
That's incredibly invasive.
Yeah. So, anyways, but nonetheless.
So what's it say?
Now that we know what it says. Yeah, I feel terrible for him.
Let's start on page 1.
He says, I have physically, mentally, emotionally, and verbally been a repulsive man. That's not a good entry. That's not going anywhere good. I feel like there's going to be follow-up questions if you write a statement like that in your journal. I'd keep that one internally, personally. Even if she asked me to write something, be honest, I wouldn't say that.
He came pretty strong with that.
Yeah. In another, he wrote this letter to a friend in 2014 as part of counseling sessions with his ex. He explains his damaged mindset. I've been a liar for most of my life. I made selfish decisions to use and abuse women starting at the age of 7 to fill this void.
Ooh.
I objectified women and never really worried about the pain and hurt I caused them. My ability to connect emotionally to other people was zero. My empathy levels were zero.
This sounds as bad as it could get to me, but honestly, my opinion is if he's in therapy and if he is legitimately working on it and writing this down, you know, it is what it is. It's happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm dude, it's terrible. It's almost some of the worst things you could say. Almost.
So what's your overall pointy?
Just that I don't.
You feel bad for him.
If he's writing this down as part of therapy in an attempt to help himself and cure himself,
Give him some credit,
give him
right?
something.
Yeah, no, I know. I kind of agree with you. He continues.
Oh God! See, now this is where I said that, and now it's gonna be like.
Well, you can go
I killed
upstairs
a
if you don't
bitch.
want to hear it. I mean, if you're
No,
so
let's-
offended by this, you can leave. I mean,
I'm not offended.
Okay. Because I never handled these underlying issues, I became an abuser and hurt my ex-wife physically, emotionally, and verbally. I viewed myself as a god, basically, and she was my slave.
That
Now that I don't have a problem with either, guys. I'm right there with you. Like, whatever. He's bringing all the cash in, you know what I mean? So,
He's kicking all those footballs.
hell yes. He refers to himself also as a porn addict, saying he viewed porn on a consistent basis to manage my desire for physical contact. I developed into a sexual deviant that viewed sex as a sport almost. My problem with that line is he spelled almost ALL space MOST.
Oh,
I know, right?
Josh.
I mean, I don't mean to, I don't mean to shame anyone or judge anyone here, but boy, oh boy, he did just sign a 2-year contract for $4 million.
Who's he play with?
The Giants.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in New York. What's not known is whether or not the Giants were aware of this stuff when they signed him in the offseason to a $4 million 2-year deal. So,
Ooh.
yeah, it's troubling. But, you know, at the same time, he kicks a ball really good. You know what I mean? Like you can make an argument, even if he's the worst person in his field.
Yeah.
He's
still one of the 31
32.
best.
Yeah.
32, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Best guys who can kick a ball really far.
Yeah, as far as like, if you need someone who can kick a ball like straight,
Yeah.
like he's one of the 32 best people almost on the
You could tell him,
planet
like,
that can
kick
do
it through these 2 bars, and he can do that.
He can do that like a really strong percentage of the time. And I know there are some people out there that are like, I don't care if he's being abusive. Fuck him. He should lose his career. Blah 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 blah.
Just remind them how
Yeah.
well he can kick a ball.
He kicks the ball really well. And when it comes down to it, and you lose the Super Bowl by a point or 2 points because you figured the 33rd best guy at
Figured
kicking a
Ray
football.
Finkel could just step up and hit that.
Yeah. I want you to think about this moment and how much you care about his abusiveness in that moment when you lose the Super Bowl by a point or 2.
We saw what happened with Finkel. I mean, that played itself out.
Oh, it was devastating. He almost murdered Dan Marino over it.
Finkel and Einhorn.
She was doing the talk, right?
Yeah.
And then,
what was that actress's name again? Sean. Oh, she was awful, wasn't she? She was like a major, like late 80s, early 90s. I think she played Catwoman, or she wanted to play Catwoman, and she flipped out, and she went on like Jay Leno or something dressed as Catwoman even after she didn't get the role.
Ooh.
Yeah, she
Ooh.
went batty.
Really?
Yeah. What's her
Wow,
name?
I don't-
Sean. Come on.
I don't
E.
remember.
I would remember names, but here's the.
Yeah, you could just pull up the crew.
So she.
Sean Young.
Sean Young.
Pull up her
Where-
picture.
Let me see her.
You remember this chick. She
Louise
screams late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
then,
she's
and then it
kinda
was
crazy.
like after Pet Detective, I'm not sure she did much at all.
Never seen her since.
Yeah.
Never heard her name. I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, in a weird way.
It was unique. What else did she do?
She did something with Kevin Costner. Pretty decent movie.
Really?
I'm trying to see how I can't see very well from this.
I don't recognize anything. Oh, she was on Star Trek. Probably Next Generation, but
Everybody knows Sean Young. Everybody out there knows who I'm talking about.
yeah. Anyway, doesn't look like she did a whole lot.
Hey, is it time to finally shed your biggie wannabe disgusting pig pen of a
Oh, it
jalopy?
is. It is.
Bet it is. And our friends at Zott Ford are the ones that want to hook you up. Right now, during their fall push, pull, or drag trade-in event, you will get a minimum of $2,000 for any car, truck, or SUV that you can get to I-75 and exit 98. They don't care how many miles, how many tires, or even if it smells like Biggie's filthy feet. It's still worth $2,000 at Zott Ford and Holly. Surf their flamboyant deals and massive inventory at ZottFord.com.
Not to pile the reads on, but I wanted to get to email and some waves, Jay, so I'll save you here. Make sure you remember our buddy Mark Leibovitz at LPL Financial. He's offering our listeners a fantastic special. If you're one of the next 10 listeners to make an appointment for a no-cost, no-obligation portfolio review, he'll give you a $50 gift certificate to your favorite restaurant. If you've been thinking about calling Merck, now is the time to do it. Call 248-626-2000. Ask for Mark.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Thanks, guys. You two handled that read. Excellent.
Yeah, no problem. We got your back.
Yeah, tag teamed it there. That's great.
Hell yeah.
I do have a couple waves, Mike, before we get to email proper.
All right.
Papa Tim63 has a question for me.
Jay, when did Mike first appear on your radar and you guys became friends? And how long after that did you realize that he was actually a dude?
I noticed that he went out of his way to avoid saying, when did he come on your radar? Did you catch that?
Did he say appear?
Appear on
Yeah.
your radar. Nobody says appear on your radar. It's come on your radar. Yeah. So when did I come on your radar?
Yeah,
Jay?
I don't know. Late high school. I think I knew you're a dude right away. Pretty sure. Although you did have a finely tuned mullet at the time, as most of us did. I think you had a rather impressive one. You and your bro coming from Livonia, you absolutely had that.
Probably. I would have met Jay in the summer of my after sophomore year.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think
because we started soccer practice in the summer.
I think you two pulled up, and so did a drunk Frenchman.
Yes.
To join the team that.
Oh
that
yes.
fall.
Maître Peter.
Have we talked about him at all?
No, Patrick.
Yeah.
No, we had an absolute Frenchman on our team. You couldn't drink out of his water bottle.
Straight out of France, that son of a bitch.
Yeah. He would smoke like walking to the field, and his water bottle was filled to the brim with vodka.
Awesome.
I remember one day.
Every third word was fuck. Fucking A, man. Fuck. Fuck this shit, man. Fuck.
Was he good?
Fuck. No.
He was shit-faced.
I know. You get a European, right? You're thinking, oh, sweet. He's going to know what he's doing. No.
You guys thought you had a couple superstars from Livonia Stevenson coming, too.
We had one. Yeah. We had one, at least.
Yeah, G was good. But no, I remember picking up Patrick's water bottle one day, and he literally left like, the water's over there, sir. You don't want to drink. You don't have to drink that, please. I was like, what's going on with Mater Peter's fucking water bottle over there? He's really possessive.
Mater Peter. Yeah, he was something.
Yeah.
Straight vodka?
Yeah.
Straight vodka. Yeah. No mixers, no chasers, nothing. It just sat in the cooking in the heat at practice.
No, I knew Mike was a dude the whole time, although he was a pretty boy a little bit. Yeah. I mean, not in a bad way. Mike was
Did he have like a
Mike was a
earring and all that
charmer
stuff?
back then.
Yeah.
Mike's still a charmer.
Yeah, but the long locks
he was-
and the earring and
he-
the kind
he
of
was-
California boy.
Mike was a good-looking kid. Yeah.
Finally admits it.
The ladies like
Finally
Mike.
admits it. Admit that I was more molestable than he. I want you to admit that.
No, I don't think so. Because again, he comes off as pliable. As soon as you ask him a question,
Yeah.
you're like, "Yeah, I'll take that lollipop."
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, "Pff, molestable,
Yeah.
off the charts."
I'm not saying like who would be easier to molest. I'm saying like
We're not going back to the day where you're going to try to say you were a hot kid. You were a good-looking kid in high school. I'll give you that. But I'm not going past that. I'm going to say you were hot like you want me to.
At 7. Come on, just admit that I was kind of cute for a 7-year-old.
No, you're standard issue 7-year-old. I'll give you that. Like you weren't worse than any normal 7-year-old.
Okay, I guess I'll take that.
Howard the Walmart greeter wonders this.
Howard the Walmart greeter here, listening to, what is it, 679, I guess. And Jay is kind of finding it incredulous that Mike could run into a burning building to save a dog. The issue I have is not the burning building part. Everybody knows Mike loves dogs, all Proops people for that matter. I think the part that I find unbelievable is that Mike would run anywhere.
Come on.
For any reason. Thoughts? Hi, Mrs. Fady.
I agree. He's got you there, Mike.
I'd save a Proops.
Would you run for one?
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Like how far would you? Let's say 3 doors down, you see smoke coming out of
Yes,
the back.
I would run 3 doors down if I knew.
I'd like to see this, huh?
Here's the thing.
He's over there laughing.
If I'm being totally honest, it depends sort of on what kind of a crowd was building in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You make
know what I mean? Like if there was if neighbors had come out of their house and kids were crying, and then at that point, I feel like I could fire up and run in there. But if nobody was around, if I was the first person to come upon the scene,
gross.
If that were to happen, I don't know. I might let some smoke really get billowing, maybe till I hear some sirens. Help is clearly on the way, and then maybe I'd knock on a few doors to see if I could get some support from the community before I run in there. But it's like leaving the tip in the tip jar if they've got their back turned to you. You know what I mean?
We've all been through that. You're like holding it. You see me put that in there. There you go.
There you go.
Got to do something right around the brim of the thing like that. Just kind of shove it in there.
Really get it in there.
There you go. Yep. Gave you that tip there.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not running in no damn burning building without people around.
You wouldn't at all.
Not for poops. I'd break a window for one.
I don't even know if you might throw a rock through a window.
Throw a rock through a window, go, come here, poops. It depends on the nature of the fire. If we're talking about like a sunroom on the back of the house is burning up, I'll unlatch the front door for a poop, something like
Open
that.
it. Yeah.
But I'm not
wow,
like,
that's so generous of you.
Yeah,
what a hero.
Look, they're soulless. Sorry.
So if Izzy...
I'm more important.
You're not. But if Izzy was in a burning building and you knew it was a second-story fire, but you thought it was, and there was
Shit's
smoke
gonna
coming
collapse on me. No way.
But you know she's right on the other side of the door. You wouldn't run in there, and if she was like, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm just a poops," and that you wouldn't just scoop her up and drag her outside.
Yeah, I would. I would do that.
Doubt it. I honestly, I doubt you would. You might do it for a child, but I don't think you'd do it for.
I'd do it for the poops. I would. Let's be honest. Hey, Matt writes in. Cult leader, king, and fucktard. I'll take king. Episode 681 was awesome. That was last night.
Really?
Was it?
Awesome.
I actually was a huge Roxette fan. So that. Oh, okay.
He didn't hear the rest of the episode.
I always thought the short-haired butch chick was kind of doable.
I did too.
I may have let it fly a few times watching her and listen to your heart. You pull up the short, butchy.
I remember thinking she was pretty hot too.
I don't remember them at all. Seems weird now that I'm married to a beautiful woman with long brunette hair. Columbus, Georgia was hilarious too. Not the story, but the name. Anyway, keep on doing what you do. Hi, Mrs. Fady. Goodbye, BUI, Matt. Columbus, Georgia with a J. She has blonde hair there. Not a bad-looking woman.
That's older. I remember her more like in this picture, I think, when they're really young. I don't know. I
must have been love.
I'd have to see it.
But it's over now.
I'd have to see the video, but I remember like Lita Ford I thought was hot.
What about the chick in, was it the Divinals?
Sure.
Touch Myself?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Can you believe that song happened in 1990 or whatever that was?
When I think about you, I touch myself.
I mean, just, that is so overt.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hot.
Seriously, was that 1990, 91, 89? Right in
know.
there, right? 89, 90?
Yeah.
Fuck. That was way out there.
Yeah, women in videos back then. Remember Vixen?
Yeah, yeah.
The, like heavy metal chick band. I
Yeah.
remember those chicks. I think I wanted to bang a few of them.
Was Bananarama somewhat? I don't. Maybe. It's a cool
summer.
Yeah. Don writes in, so-called feral cats. Gentlemen, I feel no loss for a dead cat that some asshole neighbor lets out to roam the streets. I have several neighbors that let their cats out at night. They get in the garbage, crap all over, and drive my dogs crazy. So they bark, my dogs do, and I have to let them in to shut them up because I am a good neighbor. Good point. Dogs have to be contained, and so do friggin' cats. People, keep your damn animals contained and under control. Use the Amazon link and buy cat leashes or a burlap bag to put said cat in and toss into the river.
Come on.
Grandpa taught me
Not
that.
his fault. Yeah, no one will let me in the house. What do you expect me to do?
Okay, so here's another Roxette picture. Are they a brother-sister duo?
I don't know what they are.
They look like that. They have sort of a pixie type look that would make them appear to be siblings.
Yeah.
Just a happy, whimsical look.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
don't know
think
what
it's
their story
distinctively
is.
Swedish. I don't know.
It's a hard thing to pull off. I mean, Wham did it with great success, obviously. The Eurythmics. But doing it just duo.
Wham were two dudes.
I know, but I mean, just going out as a duo.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to pull off.
Doesn't look like it.
They're not brother-sister?
Were they banging?
I'll have to look and see if they were banging.
It was Roxette banging.
Simple Google search, you son of a bitch.
I always think, dude, like, what's it, Donnie and Marie? Like, are they not having sex with each other?
They were brother and sister.
I know. And I don't care. You've been together this long in this duo. You do shows in Vegas to this day.
This is revealing on how he would think about his own sister.
Oh, yeah.
Just, wow, hanging out with your sister that much? Of course you're doing her. Really, E? Is that what you
they
think?
seem so creepy.
Yeah.
I think
so
they
if,
specifically.
So if the tandem like Lauren and Erickson were out on the road doing Vegas shows,
Not what I'm saying.
you'd
I'm saying
definitely
they
be hitting
seem
that by
creepy.
now.
Specifically, Donnie and Marie seem creepy.
I do
that.
remember them being creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donnie and Marie.
And
that
they're
was
still
a
like,
thing.
and that's the thing when you go to Vegas, like they're up there and they're back to back with I don't know.
She looks good right now
Talking
too.
about 40 years they've been doing that shit, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God damn it.
She looks good. Have you seen her
Does
lately?
she?
She's doing like I don't know, commercials for Weight Watchers or something. She lost some weight. Dude, she still looks really good. She's got to be I don't even know how old. 60?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, I think they were pretty young when they were doing that. They were the youngest siblings of the Osborne family, I think. Osmond
yeah.
family. Like they had like 10 brothers and sisters or something, but those were the two cute ones, I think that.
Oh yeah, the younger ones.
That they kept parading around.
Mhm.
Look at those sons of bitches. They're in Vegas. She looks kind of like Paula Abdul.
A little bit. But yeah, that's not a bad look. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, for a 60 or
Seriously.
whatever year old woman.
Huh. Jay writes in. Jay writes in. Short and sweet. Ask the members. As for the members area selections, will all content be available into perpetuity, or will it expire? I believe at this time, Jay, our plan is to keep it into perpetuity. Now,
question,
there may
though.
be some time down the road, not in the foreseeable future, but way down the road, where our servers just become overloaded.
Yeah.
Where we might start lopping shit off.
Why?
We'd
What's
be
he worried
talking
about
years
losing?
and years and years. I don't know. It's just a question.
We added more to it today, as a matter of
We
fact.
did indeed. Check it out. Second issue. On the trip to New York, Eric said, dude, if I can only blog about numbskullery. Well, did you blog this trip? Was there a conversation where you said that you would start blogging?
No, I
keeping
made
a
I made a
log?
reference that if I could a way to become a truck driver without having to drive a big truck is wonder if I could travel the country blogging about truck stops. I didn't mention.
You would not be a good blogger.
Okay, well, whatever. That's just my point.
just
Was on that.
saying.
Okay, thank you for your input. I appreciate it.
Well, you can't spell and you don't
I don't
use
give
proper
a
punctuation.
I can do
So
video
that-
video blogging.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. Fair enough.
But the point was that's what
regular blogs would be a nightmare. Just saying.
Okay, thank you.
I think we essentially read his blogs from when he was 18 years old.
That's right.
They haven't changed much.
Put it to Cyndi Lauper and read them out
There you
loud
go.
over a 3-month period.
Big hit.
Mike, we will save the rest for Monday.
All right.
As we look forward to a weekend and another week of shows.
Absolutely.
Excited about this.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
I wish it was already Monday or Sunday.
Yeah, I can't
Do
wait
ya?
to be back.
Well, thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. I believe The Walking Dead is back. Its season premiere on Sunday. Looking forward to that. Anyway, have a good weekend. Go all of our teams, whoever's playing. I'm assuming Michigan and Michigan State are both playing. The Lions. But yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll do it again next week. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.